Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. We meant to do this about an hour earlier, but Marcus and I had a very long conversation about Green Lanterns, Strange New Worlds, Doctor Strange. I was about to call him Doctor Death. And so it took us a while to get back to not talking about things that bond friends. Although wrestling does bond us, just not to the same degree. Well, no, I mean, it does, but we're not talking about those things on this show is what I mean to say. All right, Marcus. Under Siege was Saturday night. I didn't watch it live because I was covering the UFC at the time, and work comes before fun. But I liked it. It was a good show. I really liked this show. I don't know if it was because the hope of Strange New World kind of put me in the right mood for the weekend. But I watched a lot of good content this week. Most of it was fight content, but, you know.
Yeah, shout out to Michael Shannon. Hell of a kick.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Michael Chandler kick?
Yes.
Oh, I've been watching that boy since he was in Bellator, and I'm telling you what, like, that was not unexpected. It was just unexpected. Like, the idea of him knocking somebody out. I mean, that dude looks like he's just chiseled out of concrete. And you can tell because his hairline looks like it was chiseled out of concrete, too. But, like, I've seen him knock people out. Like, he's a big, beefy 155er. I did not think he was going to walk down El Kakui and hit him with that front kick. And then I did not think El Kakui was going to do his best, Looney Tunes character impersonation. And I'm just like, oh, no. Good night, sweet prince.
Chandler landed that kick that Vegeta thought was going to drop Cell when he first turned perfect. He was like, I put all my energy into that kick.
He keeps kicking me in the duck. I don't care how many times people tell me that Dragon Ball Z Abridged isn't as good as the regular cartoon. 1, you're wrong. 2, it's better. 3, Vegeta's just the best.
Oh, you're going to be Fennec in a moment. It's oblivion. That's a disappointment. Go ahead. Flip that coin. Oh my God.
You bring back my baby boy. Don't worry, Vegeta. We'll bring back your baby boy. Fucking better. So, the pre-shows, I did catch the triple threat. I didn't see the tag match. Heath and Rhino defeated Raj and Shira. I don't know what they're doing with that tag team. Hopefully something, because, like, Shira's really improved. He's not going to be Batista. But if you remember his little fucking finger dance from like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, he's come a long way, people.
Oh, man.
So I didn't see that match at all. I did see the Swan Laredo Kid Mike Bailey match. We do have to confirm that Willie Mack is gone from Impact. He turned down a contract offer, though, from Impact. So it wasn't that Impact didn't value him. I guess Willie wanted to see his own thing out there. And I guess he kind of knew that he wasn't going to be getting that world title push or even a tag title push. So, like, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I thought there was a lot there because I always kind of saw Willie Mack as like a more black, kind of urban-esque Dusty Rhodes. Like he was very much that everyman to that kind of community, and like he had so much natural charisma. Just like Dusty connected with like people from the Carolinas, I thought guys like Willie Mack could connect with that Detroit, Philly crowd. Yeah. And they didn't pull that trigger, and I don't know why.
Mack was that dude, man, and then it got to the point where, like I said, you don't like recall it or look it up, you almost forget that he was X Division champion.
Yeah, for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks, and they took it off. I'm like, come on, man. Like, what the Mac? Like, did you see what he was doing in Lucha Underground? Like, he was damn near a henchman in Lucha. He was a henchman because wasn't he working for Ezekiel Jackson?
Big Rick.
Yeah, Big Rick. And then he ended up turning into like a main event on the brand. So like that climb, I'm like, he had a better climb there. Mm-hmm. It almost felt like because it got to the point in Impact he was being fed to people, and I'm like, come on, man, the Mac is so much better than this. And then you put him with Swan, and they work effortlessly together, but you don't give them a tag run. And then, so it's like you said, I get it, the love for him to stay, but I mean, if you don't, it's an uptick in money, but no real elevation and direction, you got to go see where that, broader horizons. Maybe he end up in your top spot in MLW somewhere.
That would be interesting because they're going to need some guys for Hammerstone to feud with, and Willie Mack is certainly someone that I think could have some interesting matches with Hammer.
But how was that triple threat? Because I didn't see it.
It was good. I mean, Swan, Laredo Kid, and Mike Bailey, maybe your three best workers in the company.
Yeah.
Like,
So
yeah, it's hard. It's hard not to have that be good. It was short, but like, yeah, they got their spots in. Swan ended up winning, which I thought was
no.
nice because I thought Laredo or Bailey would win by pinning each other, but Swan ended up pinning Laredo. So I think Bailey's still undefeated. Although I
Yeah, but
hate putting guys in triple threat matches and then be like, oh, but he didn't technically lose, so he's undefeated. No, he lost. It's an L. He may not have been pinned, but he took the L. If he didn't win, you lose.
it's an interesting thing though when they bring that in the storyline because we're gonna get that into how they kind of work that into this whole Ace Austin is the ultimate crawl and Miguel's side
Mm-hmm.
thing. That
The
worked. That
Raven
worked.
who was Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah, and that exactly, and that came off a triple threat. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, and it looks like Mike Bailey may be that next hurdle coming up in the X division for the title. So, looking forward to that.
Well, I don't want him to be the next hurl. I want him to be the next champion. So hold off
Yeah,
on using Bailey until you're ready to move the belt to him. So first match was I would not. I was Marcus. I was not expecting this match. So we get to Giselle Shaw with Alicia Edwards, and by the by, this might be my favorite random thrown together tag team because I could just see Giselle not being interested in anything that Lish wants to do, but Lish being just like a super fangirl type of character, just like like boils her down with her puppy kind of eyes and her cuteness. Like
well,
I could see that happening.
we talk about Lish all the time. She's not necessarily a talker or a lot of the things that she's not. But it's rare to find somebody like that specifically on a wrestling show that you can throw in anything. It's obscure as hell a lot of times, and somehow it works for her.
She's not a great talker, but she's got charisma.
Yeah,
And I think that's why I like you said, like all these like little kind of weird, kind of like random ass roles like end up working for her because she's got the charisma to pull it off. She's very bubbly, very energetic.
yeah, she's diminutive, but she's entertaining as all hell. Specifically when she's in the ring and she's winning, that's something to watch.
She's the female Courage, the cowardly dog. Not a great talker, but loads of charisma.
Mario.
So speaking of charisma, like I saw just Giselle Shaw a lot in like 2018, 2019. She did a few shows with Impact, and she was fine. I didn't think she got this good. Like,
Yeah, she can.
holy shnikes, man.
She's good. Frost is good. Slamovich, and this division is only heating up now.
I like that they're building from within and like developing young talent because like that was one thing we talked about with the men over the last few months and maybe even dating back to the Johnny Impact days was like I didn't like that they were going to these one and done kind of guys that are just looking for the next paycheck or for AEW or WWE to sign them. And I was pretty adamant that I wanted to see newer guys, and that's why I'm very much on the Mike Bailey bandwagon because I want to see more young guys come up through the promotion. So seeing Giselle Shaw come in and do what she did, holy God. Like, she did, like, that flip off the top rope. Like, what was that? Like, an arm drag or some bullshit? I was like, what was that? What? You can't do that on TV.
Yeah, she had like a string of matches with Frost. Not too long ago. I was like, man, this girl is good.
Mm-hmm. She's got the moves. I think she's going to be very fun to watch. Needs to develop her character, but she's
Yeah.
fairly new. She's only been here a couple months. Like,
And pairing her with Lish, you almost can pass it because she can be the ultimate straight woman to
mhm.
Lish's quirk. And then she and with that size differential, which is not that big, but
It is. It
again,
is with Lish and Shaw.
yeah. So she can be the little cute battering ram.
So it looks like we're gonna have some new tag team challengers in Sean Lish, which I'm fine with. Then we got Saban and Macklin, and Saban keeps having matches where I was like, yeah, he's clearly here to lose, and then he doesn't. Makes me wonder, are they building up Chris Saban for a title run? This was a fine match though. Like, I get why you like Macklin. He's a good hand,
Yeah.
but his maroon trunks need to go. I'm sorry. There's just something about like maroon trunks. I'm just like, why?
Would you like more of an I guess a camouflage motif to go with his
No.
no, like we've had enough of that People of War Like we had Chris Melendez in the past, we had it now.
Listen, if you want to bring in like Jesse Melendez, or not Jesse Melendez, Chris Melendez, Jesse Neal, Macklin, you want to bring back someone who isn't Gunner, who is in the military, and like do a military stipple, that's fine. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
But like right now, I think Macklin needs to figure out how to be more than just I'm 5'11" and 6 feet of rage. Like it's not what it needs to be yet. Like he's very much in flux, and he's kind of like, see, this is why I hate the WWE so much. And I know what a weird like segue this is, but trust me, everyone thinks that if you do the WWE way, you're gonna have success in everything. So when Stone Cold once said, you know, the most successful guys are yourself turned up to 11, that was fundamentally a lie. I'm sorry, The Undertaker doesn't, Mark Calloway doesn't hang around in graveyards digging up bodies. He's actually quite communicative. He doesn't just stare and growl and kneel, and I'm pretty sure he's not any sort of a religious, a follower. So it's like, no, you don't need to be you turned up to 11. You need to be someone interesting that I'm willing to watch for 11 months straight. Right now, Macklin's doing the I'm me turned up to 11. And it's like, I don't give a shit, bro. You're pretty fucking boring. Like, if you got the charisma of, like, Sting or, like, Ric Flair or Stone Cold or The Rock, all right, be you turned up to 11. But if you don't got that charisma, you got to find a character. Again, I go to Danhausen. Like, Danhausen is a great character. I don't think I ever would have given a damn about that dude if he wasn't Danhausen. Because he wrestled as non-Danhausen for a little while. He may have had, like, I think his name was, like, Demento Danhausen or Doombound Danhausen.
Looking at him now, I don't even want to know who he is as a human.
Right? Like, you don't take your makeup off. You will always be Danhausen.
He's not one of these rare cases like Rosemary, like, she's beautiful in this shit, she's beautiful out of it. But I definitely take her in it, which is rare. But, yeah, Danhausen is to the point where, like, he's making Hook interesting for me. Like, Hook, like, to me, he's like what we call him, like the really like Dragon Ball Z looking Agrokrami model.
Goku and Bitch.
Yeah, with a 2. Like he's angry. He doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like he's still on a diet. He can go, but that's about it. He has really coiffed hair, and he's angry. And then Danhausen's like, "Damn it, why can't I curse you?"
That was a great Danhausen.
Man.
That was great. But you're not wrong. Like, one, Hook is not interesting.
Sorry, Taz. But you know. You gotta know.
You and your wife both know. He's like a fine hand, and like I like that they're building him up slowly, but like I don't know. And I'm not even all that excited for the Hookhausen because it's like they're clearly putting more emphasis on Hook, but I'm here for the Hausen. It's like, going to, you have your, like, what's a southern breakfast with grits? Like, chicken and grits, broccoli and grits, shrimp and grits. It's like going to get shrimp and grits, but only really wanting the grits. But they're giving you shrimp, too, and you're like, all right, I don't hate shrimp, but I'm really here for the grits. So, like, I don't know. But you're right. Like, Danhausen, character, and I think that's what Macklin needs. He needs that character. I think kind of going with that face makeup that he's going with might work if he kind of goes into, like, have you ever heard of the metal group Ghost?
Vaguely.
The lead singer is just some random dork from, like, Sweden. Because, of course, he's a black metal dude from Sweden because, like, that's all they do there. Hockey and black metal. But, like, his band is basically just a bunch of, like, rotating musicians and him. And all the musicians, wear, masks, basically, that are all the same to hide the idea that anyone who isn't the lead singer is replaceable. And that's kind of the idea they're going with, because the lead singer pretends to be different characters when he sings. He's had 4 different alter egos as the lead singer. And, like, he always finds a new way to, like, put on a new mask, do new makeup, introduce the character through a new storyline. And it's very riveting. But he has face paint that's very similar to what Macklin does. And if Macklin can find that ghost element, that thing that makes him more than just face paint, that's going to be what seals the deal, because him just being an off-brand Ken Shamrock with face paint is pretty much just him being an off-brand Ken Shamrock with face paint.
Huh.
Sorry, kid.
Yeah, but like you said, hell of a hand, and I love that we're getting Saban, with more wins, because I feel like this has been a year where they've done a really good job of keeping the guns extremely relevant, both as a singles and a tag team. Because individually they've had tremendous amounts of success, and I feel like that's what they're kind of doing this year, is reminding us that they're not just one of the best tag teams in the world. Individually, this guy's pretty much an X Division legend, and Shelley, you know, uh, certainly has his merits as well. So, like you say, you go into these matches like, yeah, he's obviously going to lose. He's a veteran. He can afford to take an L, but he got the win. So, love to see it.
Didn't he also beat Moose earlier this year?
I feel like he did with a roll up or something
Yeah,
like that.
he's beat Moose. I think he beat Jay White. He's gotten some wins this year. I think they may be building him up for a future title shot with Josh Alexander, and I would love to see that. That would be great.
Yeah.
Speaking of great, Taya Valkyrie. I don't like shaved heads on chicks, but like Taya, I mean, you're 9 out of 10, sweetheart. I ain't gonna grape over half your head.
Yeah, she got a great smile. Like you said, I'm not usually into the shave head like you all blondes, but it works. She got this unique thickness to her, much like a Jordan Grace.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you said, we talked about how she changed styles as she, trying to change body types. I'm thinking back in my head to Lucha Underground when she was small, and she had the work ethic and certainly the sex appeal with how they were shooting her, specifically in Dario Cueto's office. But this evolution of her since then has been really cool to watch, and it's been really great seeing her back in Impact, and she's basically made herself synonymous with that title too. So yeah, this was another fun one to watch, man.
She's proof that you can be sexy regardless of what you look like, as long as you bring that work ethic to the table.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
she's gorgeous. And like, I know
Mhm.
she ended up changing her look and style because she was having some health issues due to her diet, I think was what it was. So she got into bodybuilding. And I think for me, and for a lot of people, it's not the body type that appeals. It's that dedication. Whether you're a fitness model or a bodybuilder or what have you, it's that dedication to your craft that makes you so attractive. And I look
Mhm.
at Taya, and like, yeah, she's probably a good 60 pounds heavier than she was in Lucha Underground, but it's muscle. Like,
Mhm.
and like, she resonates just sex appeal and raging cold steel. I was trying to make that work. I don't know if it worked.
Yeah.
But like, she's, she's gorgeous, and like, I think she looks better as she is because she looks healthy, she looks
Yeah.
happy, and you can feel that. So like, I love Taya, and I think Deanna needs to like find the same work ethic, because I've not been impressed with her for a long time. I think they're phasing her out of the company,
Mm.
truthfully. I know they try to push her over as this top star and yada yada yada, but like, it never landed, and it kind of always felt like, remember when Seth Rollins first won the belts in 2014, and like, no one cared, and like, yeah, you had your moment, but everything else after that was trash. That's Deanna. Like, as best I can put it, that's Deanna. They put her in the best situation, but she doesn't have the same, athleticism that other women in the division have. She doesn't have the same cardio. She doesn't have the same passion. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that she doesn't feel the need to improve. She's as good today as she was when she was in NXT, and that's not a compliment. And I think she really needs to dedicate to her craft. She looks like someone who kind of, comes in and out of wrestling at her own leisure. And that's like one of the big reasons people didn't really, gravitate to Tessa, was that no one felt that she was committed. They felt that she was in it for herself. And now, granted, that's fine to an extent. You got to be in this for yourself. But if you don't have the dedication to get better, then you're only getting worse. There is no such thing as stagnation in talent. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. And I feel like Deanna Pratt is getting worse. Unlike Taya, who she's pushing 40, and you'd never know it, because she keeps putting the time in with her craft. And I'm like, listen, I never liked the idea that she went to NXT because I knew exactly what would happen. Ended up happening. Like, we knew she was going to be, disgruntled and ignored and done wrong. So I never liked the move. But let's be honest here. That was their failure, not Taya's. Taya's a top talent regardless of gender. I could build a promotion around Taya because she's charismatic, she's stylish, she has a unique look, she can go in the ring. Maybe you don't put Taya in the ring for 20 minutes, but you can get 13 minutes out of her. That's more than you can say about a lot of people. So, yeah, Taya's fantastic, and I will always rep Taya. But there's one person I'm going to rep more than Taya. Because the head bitch is back in the Impact, man. I didn't see that coming. Seeing me Yim pop up with like a bunch of like cats and skull face people. Like, she went full Korean on that entrance.
Hey, man, I didn't see it either. Oh, but it was one of the best surprises. We're going to get to the second.
Whoo!
Man, it was
I was
good.
so happy.
The entrance was hot. She's always been hot. When I seen it, I was like, "Welcome back home, Jade." So I was like, I gotta remember it's Mia Yim now, but she's another one. Left, evolved, came back. We obviously know the hurdles she's had to go through. And she came home, and then instead of going to AEW, stuff could still happen, but I feel like this was a choice because she went through a lot when she was on TV, and then obviously her and Keith Lee. Obviously fought through some trials and tribulations with certain health stuff, and then she kind of came out on social media like, I'm gonna take my time and choosing where I go. And I think she Impact was always good too. It was certainly good for her. We seen her go from being a sexy doll gimmick to putting on classics with Rosemary. So to see her back as the Asian baddie. Or the Blasian baddie, I should say. I dig it, man. It was hot. Good stuff.
So is it head baddie in charge or head bitch in charge?
I want to say it's baddie because the bitch has been kind of overused. So I think it's the head baddie in charge.
Now I'm thinking of all those Kermit Omegle videos. I'm looking for a baddie.
Oh, God, that's creepy.
It's the dude with the Kermit puppet, and he does the Kermit voice, and he's like, I'm looking for a baddie. But then, like, there are times when it looks like he's, like, pleasing himself, and then he lifts it up, and it's like a cucumber.
Oh, my God. We had a old guy over the year.
He's got a BGC. And there's so many times like he'll find like a girl and she'll be like, oh my God, I love you, Kermit. And then he flashes her and they're like, oh, you just ruined my childhood.
And then she closes her eyes and look away, and then she looks back over and he's got the hoodie on. Do it. Do it. The Kermit says Kermit when his BGC's out. Do it.
So seeing Mia Yim is great. I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to seeing her interact with Rosemary. Because, like, before there was Taya, before there was Bunny, it was Blue.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to that. Like, Rosemary is the ultimate MCU character who just keeps making new stars and then getting left by themselves. Listen, Rosemary didn't try to burn the world down when the Bunny got murdered. She didn't try to burn the world down when Taya got taken out. She didn't try to burn the world down when Abyss left to go play Booker. Scarlet Witch has no reason to try to destroy the world. By the by, let's have that conversation. Scarlet Witch is not justified. Like Killmonger, who is not justified, Scarlet Witch is not justified. And I'll give you point and preference as to why. John Jones' entire telepathic race was murdered, leaving him the last Martian ever. He's a telepath. He feels, communicates, loves telepathy. Can't do that without his people. He's on Earth. He doesn't try to ruin the world. He marries an old Asian lady and goes touring the walls of China.
No, she's absolutely not justified, and she really didn't pay like she probably should have for Westview, because she had them people mind effed for weeks. Now it's not as bad as getting snapped, but it's still form of torture and kidnapping and all that other stuff. But I will say there was never a point in the movie where I felt like she was just deliberately. It got to a point where because so much stuff was in her way, she was just like, I'm tired of like playing around. But at the beginning to the end, she was like, look, man, just give me what I want. Because if y'all know what I'm capable of, or maybe you don't. Let me show you. Oh, you got mouth powers? What mouth?
So you're saying she's Batista? Give me what I
Give,
want.
yeah, Jinx. Give me what I want. You're supposed to be my friend, Strange. You're supposed to be my friend. Shout out to Batista Week, by the way. Oh, yeah, that was good. 100% I justify, which is maybe why she thought the punishment at the end was what she needed. It's like at this point, this book is not necessary, and I'm not necessary. But her acting, her performance in the movie is just exquisite.
She's very talented.
Yeah.
Speaking of talented, let's talk about the talented Ace Austin and Trey Miguel. I love this whole like, listen, I can beat anyone, but I can't beat this little fucking half-head beach boy. Like, why can't I beat him? He's into magic. He's such a dork.
He was trying to bang my mom when my boys was here. Now they're not here. He's not trying to bang my mom, and he's getting over on me even more.
Okay, wait, before we go any further, you just reminded me of something. So I looked up the HBIC, and it took me to Miriam's Twitter account, right? You'll never guess the first image she had posted for Mother's Day.
Who, Mia?
Yeah, you have to remember that one of her best friends in the entire world is Shelton Benjamin.
Oh yeah, they got a specific type of humor between them.
So the very first post is a picture saying Happy Mother's Day, and it's Shelton and Shelton's mama from 2006.
Yeah, that track. Love it.
So anyway, this was a good match. I liked it. I for whatever reason though, I'm not like super into Ace Austin. I think it's his look. I think he looks too much like a dork for me to take him seriously. Like, have you ever seen Grandma's Boy?
No.
It's an okay movie. Basically, it's the secondary characters of every Adam Sandler movie, but now they're the stars.
He's a yeah.
And Linda Cardellini from the Scooby Doo movies is in it. But there's this character in it. His name's fuck, I can't remember his name. But he's like the super coolest video game designer ever. But when you meet him, he's wearing like a long black trench coat, black sunglasses, leather black pants, black shoes, and he talks like a robot. And you know he's super talented, but also so much of a dork. And
Yeah,
I feel like that's Ace Austin.
Yeah, it's weird. He got that. I feel the same way about it, and all of the off-screen personal issues aside, I feel the same way about the Broham from Raw.
Oh, Matt Riddle. Yeah, he looks like a dork.
Yeah, like he doesn't look like anything you see him, and then he gets into the ring like, oh, this guy's he's a problem. I feel the same way about Ace. There's no denying his talent, and like I said, I never get tired of seeing a high-quality fold. Um, But yeah, I'm not that big in Ace Austin, but I do appreciate the story that's been around him with the X Division, and now tying that into Trey Miguel, because somehow, like now he's a 3-time X Division champ, and the match was good, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a narrative now like that somehow that championship always finds its way back to him, and then now you know capitalize and build on that with the fact that like Trey can't beat him. And that's the whole thing now. So I'm digging that because you know his whole thing is going to be to try to hold that thing all the way to BFG to cash in. So, you know.
Hopefully they don't do that because I don't think Ace is that guy.
Either. Drop it to Bailey.
I think you could have done something similar with Swan, but I think they rushed that too. And I feel like when you have somebody who's that small, like that skinny, you have to put in a lot more work to get him over. So I feel like if you want Austin to kind of win that belt eventually, have him gain about 20 pounds, 25 pounds of solid muscle. Have him work out with Jordan Grace and Ty Valk because they know how to do it.
Yeah.
Like those two women have like some of the best physiques in wrestling. Have him train with them, put on about 20 pounds, drop the Speedo trunks because that ain't working for you. Maybe steal Matt Cardona's half leg trunks. Those were kind of dumb, but also stood out. You know, maybe do your hair differently. Like, he definitely needs that evolution. He needs that Johnny Nitro to John Morrison evolution before I take him seriously.
Yeah, yes, it's definitely. But I did one more thing I appreciate about the match. No Fulton. And is he done with the company?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything about it. I know Mac is done.
Yeah.
Who else is done? The Inspiration are obviously done. Somebody else is done. Jonah's
but-
done now that Japan has opened up their doors.
Yeah.
So like that's not unexpected. Jonah was only an Impact to help with the partnership and also to give them something to do while Japan works their way out of their side of the epidemic.
Yeah, but certainly can't say he didn't put in work that they had a one of the best monsters ball in years on that last Impact.
Yeah, and Jonah put the hell over on PCO. So like no wonder PCO wasn't on the show. Bro needs some time off.
Yeah. Well, he gonna save. I mean, he don't need to be resurrected again, but he gonna save off. Cause I know he got to be so even with his Sabu like quality.
Yep.
Yeah, but I definitely appreciated that Fulton. I appreciated specifically Fulton and the female heavy wasn't on this show.
Because Savannah.
Because it was proven time.
You know, I think one of the ways we can make Austin kind of show what he is or isn't is put him in a group as the leader. I think putting him with Johnny Swinger and Ziggy Dice, two other scumbags, if you will, would work really well. I think that would be the way to go personally. Then we have the 10-man tag. It's Honor No More's Eddie Edwards, Kenny King, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, and Vincent with Maria Canales taking on Jay White, Chris Bay, Doc Gallows, El Fantasmo, and Carl Anderson of the Bullet Club. I think in a further sign that maybe some of these New Japan guys aren't sticking around, Honor No More gets the win. I was quite surprised about that. And I think it was Mike Bennett got the pin.
Yeah, it's funny, man. I'm starting. I'm digging. Like, I'm a Chris Bay guy, but I'm digging Honor No More, man.
I like the group. I don't like the name. Dishonor was right there.
Dishonor. Yeah. They was right there.
Dishonor on you. Dishonor on your house. Dishonor on your cow.
No, your cow, your whole damn family. Yeah, I can't, just on the fact that we, have to get more Anderson and Gallows. It's hard to root for them. They brought in Phantasm, which is, he's always the instant alternate.
He's the Johnny Divine of USA Bullet Club.
Absolutely, and I definitely like the addition. I love Swing Blade.
Yep, me too. And I love their skating antics.
Or should I say Beyblade? Yeah.
Beyblade, yeah, there it is.
That great. But Honor No More, man. Like I like the fact that we got these two seemingly heel factions beefing. You don't see that a lot, and they are bringing the smoke to Bullet Club. But they not messing around. So I'm digging. I don't know how long this gonna be going, but I'm not mad at it. It's some good stuff.
Two heel groups that are both unaffiliated with the company in storyline.
Oh yeah.
That's dope. The Tasha Steelz match was what I expected it to be, honestly. I was disappointed only because I knew it wasn't gonna be good, because Jessica Havoc is only ever so good. She's always I remember watching her in 2010 at local indies, and she was so much more smooth in the ring. She wasn't nearly carrying as much as she does now. She was a vastly better worker back then. And I don't know if she doesn't have the same desire or passion that she once had for the industry, but she's just not a good worker. She does everything she's supposed to. But that's all she ever does. I feel like she's going through the motions for a paycheck. And I think she likes wrestling enough to not want to get a real job, but she doesn't like it enough to try to be the best at it. Yeah, and it shows in her work.
Yeah, she kind of feel like she just does 100% what you said. She definitely does what she needs to do, but there's nothing ever extended beyond that. And then obviously in terms of character, kind of like the same thing. I appreciated this match with the contrast of styles, and like I said, Tasha without her heavy, because this was proven time for her. So that was a test, and then obviously she was completely outmanned by Power. in size. So she had to play a lot of different points in this match and kind of really break down that redwood, if you will. So I appreciated that aspect of it. But yeah, I told you before on the last show this was a foregone conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it was a great way to just show that Steels, with what I would believe is some pretty stiff upcoming competition, can get it done without the heavy. So
That was important for the character aspect. I still don't think Tasha Steelz has shown me as a in-ring competitor that she is a Knockouts champion caliber wrestler yet. But that's
gotcha.
also been look at who she's wrestled.
Yeah,
Like I like Rosemary. Rosemary's a great character wrestler, but she's not the same Rosemary from 2016. She's taken a lot of bumps, and her knee never really, got her back to where she used to be. She's not the same worker anymore, and that's sad. But Tasha's not been given the Tayas, the Parazzos. Like, even though I'm hard on Parazzo, she's still one of the better workers in the division. She could just be so much better. Tasha hasn't faced off with Mickey, wherever she is. Hardcore missing.
she took.
Hey man, can't you see Mickey chilling under there where that train used to be?
I will not take the damn train.
So like Tasha's not proven anything yet, but I also don't think that she's not proven anything. She's very much still in limbo. So like I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, if she had a match with Havoc, like clearly she's not the best. I'm sorry, but like most of these wrestlers that people like aren't the best. Like you can't just judge them off of their worst outings. That's an inauthentic way to critique things.
But you throw somebody like, because Slamovich is continuously winning.
I wouldn't put her against any of those yet. Giselle, Slamovich, and Frost both have all three have their own shit to figure out in terms of like building up their character work.
Yeah.
And I feel like putting Tasha with them is only going to be like, look, these people can't do what others can do. And I think, again, that's not the way to go. I think with Tasha, if you want her to go into Slammiversary champion, you give her Mickey. Give her someone that has a proven track record and let Tasha get a big win. Maybe you do that with Taya. Maybe you do it with Pratzo. Maybe you do it with Mia Yim. You do it with someone who has credibility as a wrestler and as a name. That's what she needs. Right now, she's doing the Seth Rollins title reign. Yeah, I'm beating up on so-and-sos and who's watched it. But whenever I do win, it's through hooks and crooks and slams and whams. It's like you're not building a name in that regard.
Yeah, she's beating Mickey, but that was going into the Chelsea Green of it all. So that took anything away from her, because that came off as more important than her getting than the champion retaining. So, yeah. So I definitely run Yim into it, because that's a different level of competition, and she's a former KO champion as well. So,
I think you do Taya. I think that would be my pick. Taya, as Reina de Reinas champion, has that clout. Now she's beaten Parazzo twice. She's definitely someone that has come back strong. If she loses to the Knockouts champion, it's not going to be a guess Taya is done kind of conversation. It's like Tasha beat someone who's a champion and Taya lost to someone who's a champion. That's a great win-win kind of scenario. Or at least win, don't really lose scenario. But
and by that time, perhaps will be finding a way out of the realm, if you will.
Maybe. That would be an interesting one. I wouldn't mind seeing Tasha and Savannah Evans eventually get it on too. I think that could be interesting, and it would be a big test for Savannah Evans, because Tasha can work. It's just can she work well enough to warrant the title? Savannah, I don't know much about, other than she looks like a legit fighter. But can she? I think a few with Tasha would really help kind of show us who she is currently. So, speaking of who we are currently, we saw the Briscoes promo earlier in the night. And I'll say this. I'm not a Jay Briscoe fan. I don't think you are. Or at the very least, you recognize that he's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, I've never really been. I appreciated their work, but I've never really been a fan. I've enjoyed those promos though, as they was like getting more popular in Ring of Honor, because them old school and boys promos just entertaining to watch, even if you don't understand anything of what they're saying. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because Mark Briscoe's promo about being the stratosphere is money. But
Is that
I've
the one?
always liked Mark. You know, Mark
Is
was
that the
always
one
the
where he
Briscoe that I
broke
thought was
Jay?
fun. What's that?
Is that the one where he broke Jay?
No, that was the one that he did at the Under Siege event. Where,
Gotcha.
where he was talking to whoever the backstage interviewer is, and Mark's like, "We're like the stratosphere. All the belts just keep hovering around us and coming to us like a magnetic pull." But like Mark's always been weird, and I like that. Like he was the redneck ninja or the redneck belt or something like that for a little while in the Ring of Honor, and like he's always just goofy, and I like that. Very juxtaposed to Jay's constant "I'm super angry at minorities and gays" attitude. So like there's a good Briscoe and a bad Briscoe, and I like the good Briscoe.
Reach for the racism, boy.
What you doing in my school, boy? I still can't believe Louis said that. Granted, I think it was as a joke, but still. At least I think it was Louis. Otherwise, they really gave that line a lot of attention in that movie.
Yeah, but VBD did not retain by design, which is
No, they did
interesting
not.
because for the promo, I'm like, it definitely. Oh, I gotta talk to Chad about this. I'm like, they're using the Freebird rule.
Mm-hmm.
You going against a veteran tag team like the Briscoes, who are more than proven tag team champions wherever they go, and they just put on a match of the year candidate. Uh, why would you not use your big gun in that match?
Because they needed to have a guy who can take the pin. So, one, Cody Deaner is the Xavier Woods of Violent by Design. The minute you see Xavier Woods in the Freebird match, you know the New Day is losing the belts. Secondly, I think we've seen enough of Deaner. I think it's time to admit that Deaner as a character doesn't work. We need Cody Deaner back. Cody Deaner was great. I don't need serious Deaner. I need yeehaw, getter, Cody Deaner. Please. He is too damn charismatic and entertaining not to be Cody Deaner. Like the quarantine stuff was some of the best things Impact did during the early days of the pandemic. I think we know that this version of Deaner don't work. Either because he's not invested in it, or because they don't have anything for him, or because they're just afraid to see what he can be outside of whatever he is as this side character Muppet thing. Cody Deaner was always charismatic, was always fun to listen to. I miss that Deaner.
Yeah, and wait a minute, because do we still have Jake? Is Jake something still with the company?
No, I think his contract expired and opted not to renew.
God damn it! So it's
Right?
like I feel like the only natural way you could turn him outside from having like a Ronald thing where he wakes up, because you would need somebody to do that. I guess the only other natural way to do it, make it like legitimate believable, is have another wrestler's house where you get sucked into that.
Well, we can go off kilter because they do have Archibald Peck as a writer, and they still have a good standing with Shark Boy. Archibald Peck was a drum major or like whatever this marching band leader dude is called in Shikara, and then he got really depressed, and then he started walking around the world. Literally, that was a storyline. And then he eventually found mixed martial Archie, and he became like this MMA enthusiast until he got hit so hard by Eddie Kingston he went to the future, which is where he met 3.0. Shikara was wild, man. But like when he came back as Archibald Peck, and people were going ecstatic for him. I think you could do something similar with that in the vein of like having Cody Deaner kind of go on like a vision quest that Archibald Peck puts him on, all the way to like the beach where he eventually meets Shark Boy, who then trains Cody Deaner to embrace the inner chaos in him like Shark Boy once did when Shark Boy had a massive concussion. And then you could do like this whole storyline of Deaner going, well, how do I find my old Cody? And like Shark Boy's behind him with like a giant concrete slab going, "Oh, I'll find a way." And he slaps it on top of Cody's head and knocks him out. And then Cody Deaner wakes up in the same goddamn bedroom that Shark Boy woke up in as Cody Deaner with the mullet and everything. I think that would be money. Shark Boy, he's awake. What do you have to say? Oh, shell, yeah. And that's the fishing line, because Shark Boy said so. Oh, I miss Shark Boy. I miss him so much. And then he attacked, who was it? Scott Steiner bit him on the ass. Or was it Josh? Was it Josh Matthews in that Slammiversary match?
Yeah, I feel like it might. Yes, Scott Steiner and Matthews. I forget who he bit, but that was hilarious.
Oh, it's so good. It's like that's how I'd bring Deaner back.
Yeah, but new champions, new tag champions, man.
I'm not a Briscoes guy. Still better than the Good Brothers.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought too when it happened. I was like, well, there's more champions that's not signed with the company, but they're not the Good Brothers who are actually signed with the company.
Well, the Briscoes may sign with the company because AEW doesn't seem interested in them. And WWE doesn't want 2 near 40-year-olds.
Yeah, who I guess for their narrative is still not aesthetically pleasing. So.
And they're not. They look like if trees had buttholes. So, like, fair. Speaking of fair, main event time. Tomohiro Ishii lost to Josh Alexander. It was a great match. The one thing I will say is, like, Ishii's a mid-carder in New Japan. So, like, I didn't really get the whole, like, let's put Ishii in the main event thing. But it was a good match. It was fine. I think you should have done the Honor No More's 10-man tag in the main event instead. Because I don't feel like Ishii's a main eventer. But that's a personal gripe. But Ishii's a hell of a hand. And Alexander and him have great chemistry. Especially the spinning, what was that? The spinning helicopter. Where, like, Ishii went around, like, 4 or 5 times and then landed. And you're like, oh, poor Ishii. Like, he's an old man. He's in his mid-40s, man.
Yeah, those New Japan guys, they just age differently. And did they say on commentary that Josh got into a car accident before the match or something like that?
Not directly before the match. It was like 2 or 3 days ago, but yes. I think it was like Friday or Thursday.
His car ran into a median or somebody walked away, no scratch.
A semi-truck rear-ended him on the highway. So I don't know exactly how all that transpired, but that was what Ham Sandwich said on commentary. We're just going to call him Tom Ham Sandwich. That's what Ham Sandwich said on commentary. And then he got hit in the back by the semi-truck, and the truck skidded out, causing 4 or 5 other cars and trucks and whatnot to take damage as well. And then his car slammed into the median on the freeway. I think his wife and child were with them, or maybe children, because I know they have 2. But thankfully everyone was okay, but I think the wife had some minor cuts and bruises.
Yeah.
So it definitely wasn't a great thing, but everyone walked away thankfully. So
yeah, so that's good to know. Glad you was able to fill that in for me. But yeah, man, it was a hell of a main event. This is, because even like you said, even though Ishii is a mid-card New Japan, he's that guy he's like the person version of the IC championship.
Yeah.
That's what like if you can get past this guy, you can get to the next level. So yeah, I mean, just more proving ground for Josh. Hell of a match, exhausting affair, but and Ishii got handpicked by D'Amore, so definitely a match you want to go back and watch. Definitely a match you want to go back and watch.
He did earn the title fight, though. He may have been picked by D'Amore, but he beat Jonah at the last event.
Yes, he did.
So that was like their like kind of justification, which I'm fine with it as the bare minimum. But if you know Ishii's going to be doing a main event for you, give him a few weeks of wins. Like, I don't feel like that's hard to do. But who knows? I'm a nitpicker. I know that. I know what I am, Marcus. Overall, what would you give the show as a grade?
Not yet, because a certain forest animal got a hell of a surprise.
Oh, that's right. We forgot about that because I was looking at the Wikipedia. and it wasn't a match. That's why I forgot about it. So I think it was before the main event. Moose comes out and does his Moose promo, where he's smacking his lips like he's just eating a bowl of Cookie Crisps. Not Cookie Crisps, Golden Crisps.
Flapping his damn gums.
That was some Stone Cold Steve Austin right there. Hit him with the fishing line, cause Shark Boy said so. So he's doing his Moose, and then out comes, ironically, the Moose's natural predator, a slightly pudgy white dude from Ohio.
Yeah. I'll make that the title of the show.
So Sami Callihan comes out in pretty much his hometown. I know he's from the area. I don't know if he's from Cincinnati proper, but if he's not, he's from a suburb of Cincinnati. Like, I'm not from Cleveland proper. I'm from a suburb of Cleveland. But I still rep Cleveland, right? So Sami basically comes back to Impact in his hometown and demolishes Moose, basically making sure that their match Slammiversary is guaranteed. And if I remember correctly, Slammiversary is going to be in June this year. June 19th, I think.
Nice.
So no more July Slammiversary, which I was never a fan of. Can we get some like beach-themed, summer-themed shows with there being nothing in February and not February, goddamn, with there being nothing in July? Like, I want like a beach-themed entrance, like with a surfboard and sandcastles and bikini babes. Like, come on, man! I want this to feel like 1993 WCW, where we're like rolling around with the babes of Baywatch.
And the whole thing going into the show, put Swinger in charge of getting the babes.
Oh, but then last minute Giselle shows up. She's like, "Nah, I got this."
Him going around in the women's locker room trying to recruit some of the knockouts. Like, are you serious? Like, we're not divas, bro. Like, calm down. No, I'm not trying to get you to be divas, daddy.
So then he goes to Jordan, and Jordan goes, "Listen, I'm all about female empowerment. Sure, I'd love to be one of your beach babes, Johnny." And he's like, "Yeah, daddy." And then like he gives her like a piece of string and like another piece of string, and this is your bikini. And like that's when she's like, "You know what? I gave you a chance." No. And then you just see like him get like thrown out like not Carlton, like G-Day Jazzy Jeff. Like just gets thrown out by Jordan.
Then you just see him on the ground, just like damn near out of it. It's like, I don't know how she turned me down. I've seen her OnlyFans, daddy.
What I would love to see is like when he says that, like he's kind of like rubbing his head, and you see like little birds flying around his head. And then he knocks the birds away, and he's like, "Stop it, Steve!" And then you see Crazy Steve with like a bird cradle like above his head. She's like, "I thought I was adding dramatic effect. Why are we not writers for this goddamn show?" So Sami Callihan's back. We finally have some headlining acts for this company. So I'm happy about that. Even if Jay White's not sticking around long term, you got Jay White, you got Sami Callihan, you got Moose, you got Josh Alexander. And like, I don't think Josh Alexander's ever going to be the star. He's going to be, and I mean this without referencing the tragic, terrible ending. I think he's going to be like your Chris Benoit type. You can put the belt on him, kind of like Eddie. He can give you 8 to 12 months of a great title run that people talk about the match quality, but he's not going to raise the profile of the brand. But he's not going to drop the profile of the brand either. He's Bret Hart in that sense. A lot of people like to overvalue Bret Hart. Bret Hart was not a huge draw for the company. He was just a very stable, reliable hand. And if you're being compared to Bret Hart, that's not a bad thing. So I think this gives them time to find the next guy to elevate the brand. And it may be Callihan for all I know. Callahan's definitely got the charisma and the attitude and the personality to draw fans in. So who knows? But that is what they're missing. They're missing that personality guy to be the next, whoever.
Who knows? Maybe they'll finally come to that sense of like, man, we can swing it back around to Eddie. He's entertaining now as a heel.
Or they could do Alex Shelley.
Alex Shelley, yeah.
Because everyone always kind of compared him to a young Chris Jericho. Might as well finally see if he can do it.
I mean, I think the greatest takeaway is a lot of interesting things going on right now. Like you said, we got
Mm-hmm.
Callahan back, M back, Taya's back. Who knows who else may show up because there's still a lot of free names out there. Didn't expect Jonah to come in, but Jonah came in. As much as I would like him to stay more, he came in and gave us a bunch of Kaiju classics.
Mm-hmm.
So
For
I
the
think,
short run he had, he was really impressive.
well, short run he had, man, he gave all she had. And I appreciate it because those some of that stuff they did in that Monsters Ball match, I'm like, yo, a bitch would be proud. Bitch would be quite proud. Um, so yeah, like you said, man, really good show. I think before we got into that, I think you asked me what I would rate it. I'd give it a strong B plus.
I think I'm in agreement with you. I think the show was very solid. What didn't work didn't work that badly.
Yeah.
Like Tasha and Havoc wasn't good. It wasn't bad though. It was completely tolerable. It was a fine. If it was a 4 minute match on Impact, it would have been fine. Right? Like there was nothing that was like, oh my god, there's so many botches. But I
Yeah.
often feel like these shows are built from the front and back. Like every time we talk about these shows, like it's the first 3 or 4 matches are so good.
Yeah.
And then like either the matches become too long or like the wrong guys in the main event or what have you. But like the
Yeah.
first 3 or 4 matches are always just bangers, and then you just hope the rest is comparable. And like the 10 man was great. Not a match of the year, but it was great. I liked it.
Yeah.
The Briscoes are good, but they hurt people in the ring sometimes, and Jay's kind of a bigot. Bigot Briscoes. And I like Violent by Design. Eric Young and Joe Doring are a great tag team, but I feel like we're missing out on, Diener. I miss me fun Diener. I want fun Diener. Could you imagine fun Cody Diener hanging out with Danhausen in Swingers Palace?
Yeah.
No,
That's
hang
too.
on. No, I'm going to add a layer. Fun Diener hanging out with Danhausen in Swingers Palace at Wrestle House 3.
That's too much going on to even invite women. Which should also be part of the narrative because that's just gonna piss Swinger off.
Chris Sabin's volunteering to wear all the sexy, scantily clad
But
attire.
I mean, freaking, it's a beach theme. Swingers got a bunch of hot chicks, hot big boob chicks to come and dressed in like Baywatch chicks. But every time he brings them, every chick he brings over, Housing curses her.
Yes. And then at the end, Sabin resolves by bringing his own beach babes. And when he finally brings them in, Swinger realizes they're all just cardboard cutouts of like the models of Baywatch. Like he goes, yeah, I can bring in Carmen Electra, Pamela Anderson, yada yada yada. Yeah, Daddy, let's get. And then they're all just like the cardboard cutouts from the '90s.
A montage of big-breasted models being cursed by Danhausen. And then we get to the end, and the only person that showed up without a shirt was Saban.
Shelly comes by with like a shirt and goes, "Hey, you called about this?" And Sabin's like, "No, I no longer need it. I've transcended shirts."
And then we find out that instead of cursing him, Hausen's a super fan. Hilarious.
Danhausen has a Hausen fans page.
Oh.
An only Hausen page is where he's posing provocatively, but all of his provocative poses are just him in his regular wrestling attire and his weird shirts. But then he raises his cuff on his wrist. See, Danhausen shows the skin.
A cursed calendar.
Yes, and it's just Danhausen in the same pose with different themed backgrounds. You got like a New Year's Eve theme for January, Valentine's for February, beach theme for July, Halloween. It's just Danhausen with like the words Danhausen. And then like Christmas isn't even December; it's Christmashausen.
He just got a hat on. He just got the Christmas hat on.
But it's not even like a real hat. It's like a picture of like a cartoon hat that is obviously doesn't fit him.
And you got one, and you just got a shadowy figure in a house going after some cookies, like how those shadow figures being Dark Side of the Ring, and you see Danhausen behind him with the cursed fingers.
Oh, they should do an entire fucking spoof of
Tell.
Dark Side of the Ring, where Danhausen recounts how he became Danhausen, but like in all of his silhouettes, it's just him pointing. When I was a little Hausen.
And all the commentary is from him as different people, but he's still Danhausen. He's still in the same makeup.
Danhausen dressed as Chris Jericho. Danhausen dressed as CM Punk.
Danhausen dressed as Jim Ross.
And it's all like Jim Rosshausen, Dan Punkhausen, Chris Jerichausen.
Hoganhausen.
And even better, he starts talking about how he's going to bring on Hogan and talk about how great he is, and it's Kira.
Oh my god.
See, AEW's dropping the ball with Danhausen. I just came up with like the most brilliant idea. Oh, we did.
Booked a year's worth of content for this cat, and he never wrestled.
Finally, he wrestles. He wins all the belts.
We got a merch, a calendar. We done booked Wrestle House 3.
We got at least 12 vignettes or maybe 8 vignettes of him doing his own dark side of the Darkhausen of the Ring. Oh, I'm telling you, there's so much. There's so much here.
Family vacation, the housing ride from hell. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's going down the highway, cursing families and other cars.
Danhausen is the new Tim Allen Santa Claus and Santa Claus Hausen 4.
Oh my god, man.
So B+ show, very very solid. We'll see more coming up. Apparently, the next live show is going to be Slammiversary on June 19th. So we got about 7 weeks. So it'll be interesting to see how that shapes up and what the main event will be. Any final thoughts on Under Siege before we call it a night?
No, man, good show. Glad I watched it. They've had a really solid year of good shows, man. This first half of the year for them has been really good. I hope they keep up the momentum.
We'll be back tomorrow to talk wrestling news and maybe even touch a little bit on WrestleMania Backlash. We won't spend long on it, trust me. I haven't watched it, and I have no desire to watch it, but I may check the highlights. But we'll talk about other wrestling news tomorrow, 10 p.m.-ish, 10:30 p.m.-ish, Eastern Standard, on twitch.tv/Wrestling Underground. You can find us on Twitter at NERDCORP and on the website at realnerdcorp.com. Marcus, you're on Twitter at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid.
That's me.
You can also find him on his other podcast, The True Penny Show, TruePennyShow, on the Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at ChadNerdcorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on the Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. Be sure to check out the website, realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdcorp.com, where we have all our past shows. And remember, as always, to how does my outro? Remember to watch more wrestling. Hang on, no. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. Remember to always watch more wrestling. And Marcus, take us home.
Good night, meat.